What's up, Laker Nation? Welcome into the Lakers Report. Today, I'm breaking down 5 point guards that the Los Angeles Lakers could trade for this offseason. Now, before I get into those 5 names, I kind of want to break down what the point guard situation actually looks like for the Lakers going into this summer, or really, I guess this offseason, whenever it may happen. Now, they do have 4 point guards who could potentially be under contract in 2021. Avery Bradley's got a player option. We don't know what he's going to do with it, but I would assume after sitting out in the NBA bubble, he will opt in. Alex Caruso's got 1 year, $2.8 million left on his deal, so he will definitely be in a Laker uniform next season, unless he gets traded. Rajon Rondo, much like Avery Bradley, also has a player option. Wouldn't be surprised to see him pick that up. And then Quinn Cook, who hasn't been that good for the Lakers or really getting much consistent playing time, is also, like Alex Caruso, under contract for at least 1 more year. Now, with those guys in mind and with everything else in mind about this Lakers roster going into the summer, I want you guys to go ahead and make your voice heard down in the comments section. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So what I want you to do is scroll down and tell me, what position should the Los Angeles Lakers be trading for this summer or this offseason? Type G for guard, type W for a wing, or type B for big. Again, it's the pinned comment. So all you got to do is scroll down and reply in the comments section. Now let's start with Eric Bledsoe of the Milwaukee Bucks. Look, trading for him is not going to be easy. I have my trade difficulty meter up on the screen for you to see, and I'm labeling this one as hard because it's going to be real difficult to make a move for Eric Bledsoe. However, if the Milwaukee Bucks miss the NBA Finals or even get bounced out before the Eastern Conference Finals, they could be saying, look, we got to keep Giannis happy. And we got to keep Giannis happy for a long time, so maybe it's time to go younger. And if they're going to go younger, they're probably going to look to trade away their 30-year-old point guard who's actually been great for Milwaukee. 15 points per game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds as well, shooting better than 34% from 3, and he just made the first team all-defense for the NBA. He's always been a steady defender, and he always will be a steady defender in the NBA. But if the Bucks look to move on from him and get a little bit younger, the Lakers might be calling him up and say, hey, we got a young player that can go get you buckets right now in Kyle Kuzma. This is the trade scenario I came up with, and this is my trade idea. So if you guys hate on me, let me know in the comments section. As I make up these trades, as I go along with these trades in my video, I want you to vote on who is saying no in what scenario. In this one, I think the Lakers got to pull the trigger. You're trading Kyle Kuzma, yes, I know, a good young piece. And you're trading Danny Green, who really has been a disappointment this year. And you're getting back an all-defensive point guard who can create his own shot and really help you win a championship right now. Now, the reason I think the Bucks say yes in this situation is because they're getting a young guy in Kyle Kuzma, and they're getting a wing upgrade over Wesley Matthews and Danny Green. Now, I get it. It's a lot to give up for just one player, but I think it's more than worth it if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, and I think this is the only way you can even entice the Bucks to say yes. Now, as I continue on today, I want to remind you about our friends over at Fanatics that are keeping you hooked up, keeping you safe, keeping you healthy, and keeping your face covered while repping your favorite team. When you go to chatsports.com/LakersMask, you can get these awesome Lakers-themed face masks. Go ahead and pick one up so you can go ahead and wear a mask. We all got to do it nowadays. I know you don't like it, I don't like it, but if it keeps us safe, it keeps us healthy, and we get to rep the team all at the same time, why not go pick one up from Fanatics? You can get 1, you can get 2, you can get 3, or you can get as many as 4 in a pack for $29.99 for that 4-pack. So go pick it up today, chatsports.com/LakersMask. And now we'll keep it rolling with our point guard trade targets. I've talked about them before on the show. I'm going to bring them up again. I've got 2 point guards that I think are going to be pretty difficult to trade for in this video with Eric Bledsoe and now Spencer Dinwiddie. Now, Dinwiddie's going to become a free agent in 2021 if he opts out. But he played the starter role really well in Brooklyn this year, and he's arguably the best backup point guard in the entire NBA. Now, he was mainly a starter for the Nets because Kyrie Irving was always hurt, so he put up huge numbers. 21 points per game, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, shot a little better than 30% from 3, but really the best thing about Dinwiddie is that he can go and get his own bucket and create for you, whether it's off the bench or in the starting 5. And now I brought this trade scenario up before, and you guys were very, very split on whether or not you do this as Laker fans. To me, it makes way too much sense for the Los Angeles Lakers to say no. You're getting Dinwiddie. You're getting 2 second-round picks, one of which is going to be a very good second-round pick from the Atlanta Hawks. And the Nets are getting a young player in Kyle Kuzma and 2 guards, one of which in Rajon Rondo that they would probably end up waiving. But if you're the Lakers, I think you got to pull the trigger here. Now, yes, Kyle Kuzma could eventually turn into a 20-point-per-game kind of guy, but Spencer Dinwiddie is already scoring 20 points per game on a nightly basis. And if he could do that with the Lakers, whether it's in the starting five or off the bench, I think it's more than worth it. Plus, you're getting draft assets. Now, I get it. You guys love Kyle Kuzma, but me, I'm giving it to you unbiased here. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to give it to you whether you like it or not. Spencer Dinwiddie is a better scorer than Kyle Kuzma is right now. Now, if Kyle Kuzma becomes what Spencer Dinwiddie is, great. But there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. But let me know who you think says no, the Nets or the Lakers. Now let's talk about a guy who the Lakers have actually had in their crosshairs before, Derrick Rose. They showed interest in Derrick Rose at the trade deadline. They offered up Alex Caruso and some picks. The Pistons said no because they were asking for too much. And then the Lakers said, never mind, we don't want to give up assets for Derrick Rose right now. However, Detroit is looking to get a lot younger. And if they're looking to continue to get younger, one of the guys that would make sense to dump is 31-year-old Derrick Rose. Now, he did play great for Detroit this year. He also played great for the Minnesota Timberwolves last year. And the difference between what he did in 2017-2018 compared to this season is night and day. Now, no, he is not MVP Derrick Rose anymore. But as opposed to the 8 points per game, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 23% he put up in 25 games in 2017-2018, he's taken a huge step forward back in the right direction. 18 points per game, 5 assists, 34% from 3, and has played in over 100 games. We're finally getting a healthy Derrick Rose back in the NBA. And now his trade difficulty, the difficulty it would take and the amount of assets it would take to get Derrick Rose, not nearly as much as it would take to get Eric Bledsoe and Spencer Dinwiddie. So I think what you give up here is Alex Caruso, and I get it. I love the Caruso. I think he's a very underrated player. I think defensively, he is one of the best guards off the bench in the league. And then you give up Quinn Cook, and you give up a second-round pick that doesn't mean that much, and you get Derrick Rose, a guy who's giving you 18 points per game a night, a guy that can come off the bench. And in this scenario, you're keeping Kyle Kuzma, and you're keeping your valuable draft assets. I think this is a great trade for the Lakers. I think the Pistons actually win a lot here, too, because they get younger with Caruso and Quinn Cook, and they get a pick down the road. Now, with all that in mind, with all the trade scenarios in mind, and how difficult it's going to be to trade for Eric Bledsoe, how difficult it's going to be to trade for Spencer Dinwiddie, and then how it's a little bit easier to trade for Derrick Rose, which of those 3 point guards would you rather have? Now, they're all veterans. Derrick Rose and Eric Bledsoe a little bit older than Spencer Dinwiddie. So keep all that in mind and scroll down to the comment section. Which of these 3 point guards would you rather have on the Lakers next season? And now where I want you guys right now and for the long haul is on this channel. We are continuing to grow the Lakers community here on the Lakers Report. We want to make sure you're subscribed. We just hit the 15,000 subscriber mark. We want that to continue to grow. I will be continuing to bring you all the greatest and free Laker coverage all year long. So hit that big red button. Help us get to 16,000, then to 17, and then to 18, and then to 19, and we're going to keep on growing. Now let's go to 2 guys who are going to be a little bit easier to trade for than the other 3 veterans I mentioned before. Dennis Smith Jr. of the New York Knicks. Now look, since he left Dallas, he has not been the same player. Now, the Knicks have Frank Ntilikina and they have Elfrid Payton there, so they haven't been playing Dennis Smith as much. Now Tom Thibodeau is in that New York head coaching role, and maybe he looks at DSJ, he sees flashes of Derrick Rose, and he wants to kind of get him back into the system. We'll see if that's the case. If it's not the case, the Knicks could dump him for little to nothing this offseason. Now, with the Knicks this past year, he put up 5.5 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, but he's still just 22 years old. This kid still has all the opportunity in the world to become a very good point guard in the league. So if you're the Lakers, you call up the Knicks and say, hey, we're going to take him off your hands. We're going to give him a nice little reboot. We're going to give him a chance to be successful. We'll give you Quinn Cook, a good shooter, and we'll give you a second-round pick. Just give Dennis Smith Jr. to the Lakers. And I think the Lakers say absolutely in this scenario because it gives Dennis Smith Jr. a fresh start, and it gives them a chance to develop a nice young point guard off the bench or eventually in the starting 5. Now, I like DSJ a lot, but I also like keeping myself safe and healthy a lot. Now, if you like repping the Lakers all at the same time, go to chatsports.com/LakersMask. I already told you about them earlier in the show, but if you missed it, you get the ad right here, you get to see it again, and you get to see all the great designs that they have with the Los Angeles Lakers logo right over your face. That way everybody knows, number 1, you care about everybody's safety, and number 2, you care about the Los Angeles Lakers. So go pick up a mask today, get as many as you want, or just get one for yourself. Doesn't matter. They ship in 2 business days. You get it right away. You're not wasting any time. Go pick one up. Now let's talk about one more guy here. Not an exciting prospect, not a sexy name whatsoever. Dante Exum of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, listen, since he's been in the league when he was drafted by the Utah Jazz, he has continuously struggled with injuries. Now he's with the Cavaliers. They traded Jordan Clarkson for Dante Exum, and maybe they're just looking to move him for little to nothing because he's still got $9 million left on his deal. Maybe they're like, just take him off our hands. Now, when you look back at the 2014 draft, that draft was all over the place. Andrew Wiggins, the number 1 pick, technically by the Cavs, eventually went to the Timberwolves. Jabari Parker was your 2nd overall pick. Joel Embiid and Aaron Gordon are the only 2 players in this top 5 that are still with the team they were drafted by. And hint, hint, I think Aaron Gordon's going to be on the move here pretty soon. And then Dante Exum was the 5th overall pick, and the guy can't even stay healthy. But now he may be looking to turn a corner. And you look 6 through 10, guys that were drafted after Dante Exum, man, I bet they would rather have Marcus Smart. Man, I bet they would rather have Julius Randle. I bet they'd even rather have Elfrid Payton, for crying out loud, over Dante Exum at 5th overall. But now, with all that failure and with all those injuries, he becomes a very, very easy player to trade for with a ton of upside. Dante Exum is still just 25 years old. If you want to trade for him and develop him into a nice young player, you don't have to really trade much for him. I think you trade Rondo if he opts in and go ahead and get him off your books. You trade Quinn Cook, let the Cavs get a shooter, and you get Dante Exum, and then you're like, listen, if you want us to take his $9 million contract off your hands, you're going to have to give us some draft assets as well. And so I think the Cavs would send the Houston Rockets second-round pick in 2022 and the San Antonio Spurs 2022 second-round pick to entice the Lakers to take Dante Exum. So the Lakers get 2 draft assets, and they get a 25-year-old point guard that still has a lot of time to develop, and if he's healthy, can be a valuable contributor to any NBA team. Now, Laker fans, if you made it this far in the video, that means you are a true Laker fan for life. So what I want you to do, scroll down to the comment section, type hashtag Laker Nation. We appreciate you guys watching all of our videos. We appreciate all the likes you give on our videos, and we appreciate all 15,000 plus of you subscribing to our channel. Laker fans, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.